Join me now to see how I got 25% more kills using Tomes of War. Go to EnglishTim.com for my PvP calculator to give you a great battle march. Tomes of War have arrived in the solar version of King of Avalon. If you're not sure what you're doing, which ones you should focus on, I'll take you through that now. Okay, so here we have all the Tomes of War in the solar version of the game. They're very new, so getting hold of the scrolls is a slow process. I will take you to my Lunar account. They work exactly the same, and I've got loads of scrolls there, so I can take you through the results now. I'm going to drop my heroes and my dragon from this march just to get rid of any variability, and now I'm going to hit just an equalized march. This one will give us a very broad and consistent approach. It'll also get rid of my critical damage, so it gives a much better comparison. What's the thing causing the difference? If you're testing your march, always try and limit the changes so that you're only getting variability in the things you're testing. Okay, so I've got all my terms switched off. Let's now try this out, see how this goes. Okay, so 72,000 troops killed. I lost my whole march. Now let's run that 2 more times. 70,500. 73,000. Okay, now let's start switching them on. Which of these Tomes of War do you really want to use? Okay, so you need your Hall of War to be up to level 22 before you can access this Library of War. You also need your kingdom to be old enough. So if your kingdom's not old enough yet, you may not have it active, but keep patient, it will be coming to the later solar kingdoms as well. Okay, so there are 3 main classes. You've got the infantry, the bowmen, and the cavalry. You'll see there's nothing on siege. You shouldn't fight with siege unless you want them there just to die. Bowmen are your most important attackers, so anything that will improve their damage or improve their attack, those are great. Now you've also got these different, these ones here, the first 2 apply to all of your bowmen, so these are really valuable. If you've got lots of different tiers of bowmen, then you really want to think about having the ones which have which will apply to every single one of your troops. Imagine you've got 100,000 bowmen and 10,000 of each of the different tiers. If you only apply the T11 skill to 10,000 T11s, it's not as powerful as applying that same skill to your whole 100,000 troops. So what's your army look like? If you've only got 1 tier of troops, then these single tier skills are actually going to be really, really good for you. Not that you should have a single tier, by the way. I'm a strong believer you should have at least 2 tiers, your top tier and the second tier. You actually get a massive improvement on the mixture of different fighting tactics that they use. There is a diminishing return when you battle, so do keep that in mind. 2 tiers is better than 1. You will get better results. Okay, let's assume you've got a mixed march, let's say, then you definitely want to be using these ones which go across the full spectrum. Now, as I said, bowmen are your attackers, they are not your defenders. Their defense is so weak, so anything that reinforces their defense, you want to put that lower down the list. So this iron skin, it's going to help improve their defense, but their defense starts at such a low point and they just take so much damage, it's just not going to make a big difference to your attack. What will is this one here. So Arrows of Vengeance. If you've got multiple tiers of troops, I think this is your number 1 pick for your Tome of War. It applies a 3%, so it grants bowmen an attack bonus of 3% worth their defense times by 3%. Alright, so you've done your number 1 pick. You're making your bowmen hit that bit harder. What can you do next? Well, cavalry as well. They can hit the enemy. So we've got the Defiant Charge here. That will give you an attack bonus, which is another great one. And Steel Refuge. Cavalry is the first one that does a little bit of defense, a little bit of attack, so improving their defense is still helpful. So if you're fighting people at around your level, Steel Refuge, this is a good one as well. It applies across all tiers of your cavalry troop as well, so that is a good win. Final one, which goes across all tiers, Infantry. So this one's an interesting one. Infantry will take 3.5% of the attacks from other troops. So infantry will take 3.5% of your attacks from each troop for each level that you upgrade. Now it does say that you need to have 50% of your infantry left in a battle. Don't get confused into thinking that you have to have 50% of your whole army being infantry. It just means that if you start with, let's say, 100,000 infantry, you still need to have at least 50,000 infantry for this skill to apply. effectively the infantry won't goad the baddies to come and attack them. If there aren't enough of them, I guess they get scared at that point. So yes, this is a great skill. What it does is an attack that would have hit your bowman will hit your infantry, and your infantry have got massive health and massive defense compared to your bowman. Let's check that now. So if we're checking your T10, for example, T10 bowmen have health of 5 and defense of 5. So now if we compare that to our T10 infantry, they have health of 14 and defense of 16. We're talking nearly 3 times the level of defense and health, and those work together. So it means they take a smaller hit, and when they take that hit, they have way more health to absorb the damage. So that's why your infantry is so much better at taking that hit. So if an attack hits your bowman, it'll kill way more troops than if that same attack hits your infantry. That's why this skill is still a very important one. Your infantry can take a hit much better. And what's this second one? So unassailable. This will increase the defense of your infantry. So that's again going to keep them in the fight for longer, so that the guys at the back, the bowmen, can do more damage. So this is another powerful skill. So if you've maxed out all these ones that I've just recommended, what's the next tier? So I would say so you've got cavalry, steel refuge, and defiant charge. So let's say you've done 5. Now the question whether you should do iron skin for bowmen, if you're doing loads of tiers of bowmen and you're doing okay in battles, then yeah, this will keep them in, make them do more damage over the course of the battle. But if you're heavily focused on just your top tier, then now's the time to start looking at the top tier. So if your top tier is 11, death throwers here can get an extra 3% attack. Anything that bumps up that bowman attack is really helpful. Do that where you've got your most number of troops in a battle. So definitely consider that one. And now work your way down the list and target the largest number of troops with the highest stats and try and get them to be stronger. That's going to help you in battles. Now the other thing is when you start getting higher levels, so T13s will require 2 tomes. So you'll need 2 tomes for each one of these upgrades, so they're twice as expensive. So lower level upgrades are definitely worth considering before you start doing these high level ones. You've got to do so much more to get hold of these ones. Alright, so how do you actually do these upgrades? So we've got the get button here. You can see the books I've got here. These are now completed tomes of war. But once you've before you complete them, you have to build them. So if you go to learn Tome of War here, it'll tell you your upgrade requirements. So how many war scrolls do you need? How many of the different resources do you need? And then the level of your Hall of War. So once you've worked out all the different requirements, you click the learn button and it will then give you one of these books that you can spend. Now you can get up to 200 of the different tones, so there's a long way to go. This is a big slow build, but at the start there'll be some great improvements if you put them in the right place. If you don't get confused and put them in the wrong place, you're not going to get the same sort of benefits. Okay, so let's put some of these in now. So I'm going to start with my bowman. Let's do Arrows of Vengeance first, so let's activate that. So you can see it's going up 3% each time. Now the other question people will often say is, well, these figures are pretty unimpressive, aren't they? So bowman, an attack bonus worth of defense times 15%. It's like, well, I can get 15% bonus on my armor with very little trouble. If I go into, let's go back to my solar account. So if you go into solar account here, so for bowman attack plus 251%, I'm only getting 15% with my Tomes of War, so not really worth it, is it? No, this is a really different system. Let's check it out. So if I go back to my Lunar account, and so we'll check out the reports from my previous battle. So let's check out that battle report now. So the most recent one, I just started turning on my bowman attack. So let's see what happened to the bowman attack figure. Bowman attack 36,030. And then with it all switched off, 36,030. So that extra percentage, that 12-15%, it's not appearing here. It is being added to your base attack. That means that you, instead of having base attack of 10, if you add 15%, you've got your base attack of 11.5. And now you're timesing that by your 30,000 stats, your 1,000 stats. So this is where it's instead of adding it, it is multiplying. That's why it's much more powerful, and that's why it seems like that 15% seems really low, but it is not low. It is very, very helpful. Okay, so let's switch these all back on. Let's try another battle. Let's see where the results differ from without my tomes to having a bunch of tomes. Okay, so now I've got all of my war tomes switched on. So let's see the difference in the result. 96,000 versus I lost my full march still, but now I've got 96,000 kills. So now let's compare that to my previous battles. $70,000, and then what have we got down here? 72,000. So we've got an extra 20,000 kills. We're doing way better with these terms of wars turned on. With the figures I would have had, that would have changed my figures from 30,000 odd to 30,100, so that's the major difference. This is not adding to those standard stats. These are adding to my base stats and then being multiplied. So really powerful extra skill, these terms of war. So if you focus on the right things, you can make these terms of war really, really powerful. If you're running out of resources, check this video here. It'll take you through how to set up multiple farm accounts, how to gather more quickly. I'm EnglishTim. Thanks for watching today.